This is part of a creative urge. We can become aware of our connection to the cosmos and this vast evolutionary process. But the question is, where's it going? Does it just go ever and onwards and upwards forever until we get more and more enlightened, more and more cosmically aware? Or does there come a point where there's some kind of culmination of the whole cosmic evolutionary process? The Judeo-Christian vision, which has given us this vision of a progressive development in time, has always had the idea that there's an end or a goal, that somehow it doesn't just go on and on forever, it's leading somewhere. And the original vision was a very limited one. You know, it was the prototype of this entire spiritual journey of is the journey of the people of Israel out of Egypt in bondage through the wilderness to the Promised Land. The Promised Land was supposed to be where it ended, but then as now, it turned out to be full of Palestinians. So it didn't quite work out as they'd hoped. So it had to be projected into the future. So there's always been this sense that the revolution in Russia, the communist vision was that the revolution would happen, then the state would wither away, there'd be the end to ordinary history. It's leading somewhere. Now, what's your vision of that? Is there an end, or is it just onwards and upwards forever? Or is there some kind of conceivable end to this process, or transformation to a different level?
Absolutely. In terms of where it's all going, I have a very big picture idea of all this, which is, you know, this leads towards the realm of fantasy, but I mean, I don't know what else one can do. So, if the trajectory would go from something like, you know, energy and light to matter, to life, to consciousness, if we stand way back from the process, if we could say, you know, energy, light to matter, to life, to consciousness, if we see that there's a direction there, the way I would understand it is that the urge to it seems that the direction or the telos of the entire creative process is towards consciousness itself, and it would seem that the urge towards consciousness would be fulfilled or would be ultimately completed when all the matter in the cosmos had become enlightened, which means conscious. So when all the matter in the cosmos had become fully enlightened, we would say then the primordial urge, if that's what it is, would be vanquished. It would be released. It would be fulfilled. Now, as I see it, and obviously Rupert and I don't see eye to eye on this, but that doesn't matter. But it seems that process has really barely begun, because if we are a large part of the matter in the universe that has become conscious as far as we know and understand, and we know how unconscious so many of us are anyway, you can start to see that from the biggest point of view that we are at the very beginning of a process that is of such infinite proportions that it is impossible to conceive of. But I can tell, for example, that what drives me is an urge towards consciousness and an urge to have people become more conscious. Why? Because it's a compulsion, and you can start to see that when all the matter in the universe became fully conscious, which is an inconceivable possibility if we start to think rationally, but all the matter in the universe becoming conscious. Well, he asked me, where is it all going? When all the matter in the universe would become conscious, fully conscious, all turn to light, which would be a consciousness. The metaphor for consciousness is light. When all the matter in the universe turned to light, then everything then that primordial impulse would be vanquished and fulfilled. And I believe that's where it's all heading. But in the meantime, we have a lot of work to do.
Yes. Well, let me just, perhaps we should wrap this up, but let me just say that I think that perhaps, in some sense, the matter in the universe is already conscious, you see. That I think that the idea that God's in the sky can be treated as some kind of primitive, childish idea, but it can also be treated as the idea that the entire universe is filled with consciousness already, and that the stars and the galaxies may be conscious, as I was saying before, that there may be already a consciousness throughout the whole universe of which we're unaware. And it may be that it hasn't come to full self-awareness because that depends on us. Maybe
yes, exactly.
Depends on us.
That I would agree with, yes.
Yes, so it may depend on us.
Yes.
But I think it's better off, I think we're better off thinking that there's already a large degree of consciousness throughout the universe, and perhaps that extra awareness comes from us, rather than somehow by our own conscious development we're going to inject consciousness into the rest of the universe.
No, but I mean,
seems to me implausible. I think it's already
no,
there.
I agree. I agree with that. It's believed and understood, you know, that by some, you know, that consciousness goes all the way down, all the way up. From right, that there's always interiority in atoms and in subatomic particles. There's always an interior, and whenever there's interiority, there's some degree, some capacity for consciousness. So I would certainly agree with that. But it's when consciousness awakens to itself, that's when everything comes alive. So I think we agree on that.
Yes.
Okay.